Hey guys, welcome back to the next episode of the Crazy Cayman build. Today we're going to be putting the pistons for bank one in the cylinders 1, 2, and 3. These are the 3 pistons and connecting rods that we put the rings on in the last episode, and in this episode we're going to go ahead and actually install them into the engine. A couple really quick reference notes for us. So in the cylinder head, you can look and notice that the actual valves that are on the exhaust side are smaller than the ones on the intake side. So these bigger divots on top go to the top of the engine where the air is coming in. Smaller ones go on the bottom where the air is coming out. This one here, nicely labeled for us. Again, laser etched with number 1. So this is gonna be for cylinder 1. Cylinders are labeled right on the top of the engine. Here's 1, 2, 3. So we're gonna start with this one right here, and where the numbers are is the top of the engine. So yes, so you want those larger parts facing that away. So I'm gonna come over to the bottom of the engine. And if we look at these, we know that it has to go in this direction. So it's going to drop right down in here. So we're going to do a couple things. We have something called a ring compressor that helps compress those rings to get them down into the cylinder because they do obviously protrude out. If you just tried to put it in without that, they would catch and you wouldn't be able to get it in. We're going to rotate the crank so that that dremel right there is at the uppermost point so that we can lubricate it. We're going to also lubricate the bearing here and the bearing on the other side. And then with a different special lubricant, we are going to lubricate the ring pack, the piston walls, and then the cylinder walls. I go into all of this in a lot more detail in the 997 engine build series, so check that out. This one is going to be a little bit more abbreviated, just showing you the main steps. And because, again, a lot of it has already been done for me with the M9 experience. For the bearings and journal lubrication, I'm going to be using the Driven again, and LN also sells some piston assembly lube. So this is going to be for the piston rings and cylinder walls for the Nicosil. And the rod caps were already assembled for me, so I just removed them. They even have the special assembly grease, graphite stuff, whatever it is, on them. Spent a lot of time pulling all of the loose bristles out of this brush. And I'm just gonna drop a little bit of lube right down here and brush it around. So I wanna make sure that is nice and coated all the way down the sides. So this is at the highest position now, so I'm going to rotate the crank so it is at the lowest position, which is where it needs to be to install it, and I'll lube the other side. So at this point, you can just turn it by hand, but you will have to hold the chain, this chain at least, up so it doesn't get bound. Okay, I got this adjustable guy working, and we got the first one in. So yeah, if I were doing it again, I would have ordered the 102 millimeter custom one. Makes it a lot easier, but an adjustable one will work. All right, then of course we put that rod cap on, went ahead and hand tightened it. I rotated the crank. We got our second one in, and we got this cap on hand tight. After getting 2 on, it becomes hard to turn this by hand, so I just go ahead like I did last time and put a couple bolts in there. And then the bolts give you enough leverage to turn it pretty easily still. So one little tip I came up with for these little sleeve compressors is, or ring compressors, is get them as high up on the piston as you can. And then when you set that in there and you have your hammer, you want to tap all the way around this before you start tapping on the piston to get it fully seated against the top of the cylinder wall. That way when you're tapping on this thing to get it down, the rings won't pop out and get stuck on the lip. All right, final one all the way down. All right, now put the cap on. All right, so I realized that my, what do you call this? The gasket for this baffle thing was kind of tucked under and jacked up and pinched in here.
So I thought I was gonna have to disassemble everything I've done so far to get that fixed. I realized if I just lifted it up a tiny bit, I would have enough room like this to get in here and fix it. So we're using a 2-post lift. All I did is undo the 2 bolts on the bottom that were holding it in. Those 4 guys right there. And we just lifted it up an inch. To unseat it, I can just lower it back down, put 6 bolts in, and we'll carry on. All right, torque time. It is 15 foot-pounds and then 70 degrees on these things. So I'm just going to snug them up and then do 15 foot-pounds, 15 foot-pounds, 70 degrees, a witness mark at each time. Oh, and by the way, I have the Carrillo H6N153 is the marking on them. By the way, 15 foot-pounds is approximately 20 Newton meters. All right, 15 foot-pounds marked, now 70 degrees. All right, we got 70 degrees, which is approximately 82.3 Newton meters. All right, second witness mark. Now we're just gonna turn the crank to bring the other 2 up to the top and torque them down too. So that's it, guys. We have 3 of our 6 pistons installed. We got the easy ones in. Thanks for watching, guys. Give the video a thumbs up. We will see you on the next video.